Hello, this is Tigran, and today I want to talk about certain ideas around setting healthy boundaries, about being assertive, about recognizing and getting rid of toxic people, even narcissistic people, right? How we see these red flags and how we avoid the manipulation. There's a couple of things that I want to say about this. The focus is purely about what one person should do if they want to be happy, if they want to be surrounded by only people who make them feel happy and positive about themselves, and everything else is toxic, right? But there are many issues with this, and I will start with, for example, the first one, the most clear one. These people that we want to get rid of because they are toxic or because they don't respect our boundaries, well, most probably they are family, they are our parents, siblings, maybe a partner, maybe a good friend. Many times we grow up with people around us, and then as we become adults, we have different perspectives, and sometimes we don't agree, and then the other perspective could be seen as toxic. Should we just get rid of this person because they have an opinion that is challenging ours, right? So, for example, the idea of surrounding us only with people who agree with us and who just behave in the way that we are expecting them to behave. Um, First of all, how does that help us to grow up? We know from different perspectives, from different psychological theories, that we need challenges. We need people who question our ways of understanding reality around us because that helps us to grow up. And you can see this happening with kids. You can go and read Vygotsky, or how in the US you say Vygotsky, or Piaget, or even from an object relation theory perspective, you can see how this idea of only having positive people around us, it's kind of like splitting and having only the good object with us and denying and rejecting the negative object, right? So it's a very immature kind of strategy. But it's very aligned with all this cancel culture idea in our society, or all this idea of denying and rejecting everything that now seems to be against our moral standards, right? And then there is another thing that this idea doesn't contemplate, and this is the cultural aspect. For example, many people who are first generations living in the US have parents that have a different upbringing. So what they perceive as healthy boundaries, well, not they're not necessarily the same as what their parents perceive as healthy boundaries. They have different ideas about what healthy boundaries look like. Should they get rid of these parents because they are toxic, because they are intrusive? Well, I think that's a huge cost. Now, am I promoting staying in a relationship no matter what? No, for sure. But this whole idea of a relationship should be so good and perfect all the time and make us happy all the time, and if not, it's toxic, you should get rid of it. It it is really informed by these individualistic values that don't do anything else but create mental health issues, isolation, depression, anxiety, social anxiety. And guess what? Once you start to engage in these strategies of getting rid of these toxic people and only keep around you the people who are making you happy and who are not making you feel uncomfortable, then you start to think, well, what if you make a mistake in a relationship? Does that mean that you are a toxic person, and then the other person is gonna get rid of you? So this creates a whole idea of that people are disposable. The idea of everybody is disposable, it's very problematic. I'm sure you can already start to think about many ways in which this can cause issues. So I just wanted to bring this topic, and there's tons of things that we can talk about. But before engaging in this easy and simplified argument of like, this is the people who you want around and this is the people who you should identify and get rid of, well, stop a second and think, no person is either negative or positive. Life is not so simple. It doesn't work in binaries. Again, I'm not encouraging staying in abusive relationship or anything like that. I'm just encouraging the idea that relationships are imperfect. They can be painful sometimes. People can make mistakes, and this shouldn't mean that we need to get rid of them. And this shouldn't mean that we don't love ourselves because we keep engaging in these relationships. So hopefully this will make sense to you. Thank you very much.